they're constantly asked, why don't you have kids? And they're constantly having to say, because I don't want them. That is a good enough reason.
You know, we thought that you was gonna come out and say you was a lesbian.
If you don't like the fact that I'm at the coffee shop and I have a kid, you know, what can I do? There are children.
But we do have friends who have children.
You know what? Hi y'all, this is Heather from Deuce.com, and today I wanted to talk about choices. I recently stumbled upon a child-free by choice blog, and I had heard about this community before, but I had never really read any of the literature, and I spent a good afternoon completely lost in the child-free by choice world. These are people who have made the decision to not bring children into their lives, and they would very much like the same rights and the same respect that parents have in life, and I completely understand that and completely have all respect for that. However, some of them are very, very, very angry, and you thought mommy blogs were crazy. You should read some child-free by choice stuff. It's pretty crazy. I disagree with some of them in thinking that children are a disease that should be sort of, you know, quarantined.
Before I got married and had kids, I wanted to be one of those child-free by choice people. I didn't want to have kids. I didn't want to have a family. I didn't want to get married. I had no experience with children at all whatsoever. The first time I ever changed a diaper was when I was in the hospital with my newborn, with my firstborn child. And my mother had a very traumatic first marriage, and I saw that, and I didn't want any of it. I was like, that is not for me. And then at the ripe old age of 21, I met the love of my life. And in a 7-month span, we got engaged, we got pregnant, and we got married, and now we have 2 boys. And I look back at all of the choices that I made that brought me to this point, and you know, I don't regret a single one of them.
I'm all for choice because guess what? We live in a country where we have choices, we should have choices, and that's what makes us great. The fact that we can all be different, that we can all lead different lives, that we can all have different priorities, that we can agree to disagree on issues because we choose to. These are great things. If you're child-free by choice, fabulous. But respect that I have children because I chose to be a parent.
When I was living in Los Angeles, living my child-free life, indulging in freedom to sleep in late on the weekends, going out for drinks every other night and spending 50 bucks here and there, and just having the ultimate freedom of not caring for, you know, and the well-being of another individual, I experienced all of that, and it was awesome, and I loved it. But there are things that I know, having had children, that I'm so glad I know, and I wouldn't have known these things if I didn't have children, if I didn't make the sacrifice and bring this life into the world. And I like myself now much more than I ever did when I was single and child-free.
Like you, Heather, it was in the opposite because at 23 I was married and pregnant. I had my first baby at 23, my second at 27. So I'm 27 years old, I've been married for 4 years, and I have 2 kids, which makes me feel a lot older than 27. So as a 27-year-old living in Hollywood, I have yet to find anyone my age married with kids. I just haven't, not around here. So people kind of look at me funny.
It makes me kind of sad to think that I, for so long, had decided against this life because I thought that having children would somehow limit my life experiences. But the irony is that, in my opinion, this is the single greatest experience that you could ever go through. Having kids is a trip. If you want to not have kids, woo! Then not have kids, please. But don't look down on me or anybody else because we decide to. That's our choice. You have your choice.
I think one of their biggest complaints is that parents get things like tax breaks and maternity leave, whereas because they didn't have children, they don't enjoy these benefits. And I can actually see where they're coming from. And if there were a way to work out the logistics where, a child-free person would like to take some time off work to pursue a book or charity work or whatever, I'm all behind figuring that out. However, in reading some of the literature, I think a lot of it was colored with a tone that made it hard for me to want to see their perspective on things because they were so derisive of parents.
There's irony in a group of people who are seeking victim status, who complain that they are being discriminated against while actively discriminating against a group of people because of their age, children. You can't be anti-discriminatory and discriminatory at the same time. Not how logic works, just doesn't go that way.
I'm sorry for these people that they feel the need to bash me for my choices. And it's only because they've been bashed for theirs. It just is. That's why people are angry. And if you don't like the fact that I'm at the coffee shop and I have a kid, what can I do? You live in the world. And in this world, there are children.
There seems to be this attitude that it's like this entitlement where it's like, there is no unwritten law. I'm sorry, there's no unwritten or written law that says that you are entitled to a child-free public existence. You take the chance when you go out in public that you're gonna run into a loony. You do. It's just life. We live on Earth and there are children on Earth. There are children here.
Join the Momversation at momversation.com.